There's an old expression that talks about the apathetic throne sees the world in its anguish, aids its wrong, and dare not speak. And what that essentially says is that oftentimes in communities and organizations, there's too much apathy. And that's what the apathetic throne means. That, oftentimes people see problems, but rather than addressing it and speaking, then they aid its wrong by not addressing it. I'm happy to tell you that today we have an unapathetic individual who have seen some anguish and some problems in the community and did speak. This is a call to action.
A call to action.
I'm your host, Alex Habersham, and that non-apathetic person, unapathetic, whichever is correct, is none other than Mr. Frank Austin. And I've observed Mr. Austin for quite some time now and have wanted to have him on our show for a whole lot of reasons. But first of all, is because of his initiative. And there are so many, so we're going to begin by just tell us a little bit about yourself personally.
Well, I want to say thank you for inviting me, and I want to wish you and the viewers a Happy New Year. Happy New Year to everyone. A little about myself, I'm from the country. I'm a country guy from Americus, Georgia. I've been privileged to be a part of Macon community for over 14 years now. And the initiative that I'm part of is called the Shalom Zone Initiative. And just a little bit more about that, Mr. Habersham. The Shalom Zone Initiative was created in 1992 when all that turmoil happened in Los Angeles, when the Rodney King incident happened. They was looking for a way to bring healing. They wanted to heal the community from the inside with the community. So this initiative got started in 1992. For its making, in 2009, Macon became the first city to declare Shalom in the city. So this initiative was officially started in 2009 here in Macon, Georgia.
So what does Shalom, I've heard, Coy, who used to help me out, has worked with you on some project. And I've heard mention of this, is it Shalom or Shalom?
It's Shalom, it's Shalom.
Shalom, yeah. I've heard mention of the Shalom Zone, and I've seen tidbits of some of the projects and activities in which it is involved. So just talk a little bit more about those zones. And the name of your organization is?
It's the Austin Center. It's the name of the organization. And the Shalom Zone is the initiative of the...
So the Austin Center really kind of spearheads the Shalom Zone initiative in the community?
Yes, that's correct.
Well, I understand that you all have done quite a few good things, and I've seen newspaper articles and what have you. Now, what areas does the Austin Center address, community improvement areas in the community?
So the Shalom Zone have some key principles that I would like to just talk about a little bit, okay? Shalom Zone is actually an acronym, and the S is for systematic changes, dealing with changes in the communities that create barriers. How can we address those from within? H is for help, wholeness, and healness.
Okay.
A is for asset-based community development. L is for love of God. And O is my favorite, organized for direct action. That means we're moving. And M is multi-culture, multi-faith. It's a very inclusive movement. And the areas that we focus on in the center is economic development, health. We focus on housing and physical development, and and just the holistic approach in the community, heal the community holistically.
One of the things that I think is oftentimes missed, and I think you'll agree with me, is that too often the leadership in a community tries to address problems from the top down, and I get the impression, and it's important, because oftentimes people sit in positions and in offices and on their towers and, from the outside and driving down the street, and they think that they know can realize what needs to be done to address the problem, when in fact, and I think this is what you're saying, that these problems have to be addressed, from the bottom up.
That's correct. That's
rather
right.
than the top down.
Great analogy. The key to this movement, this whole movement, is that the leadership is the residents. This movement is all about what the community. We, as the Austin Center, understand that the people that live in these communities, that work in these communities, that play in these communities, they are the experts. So they are the ones at the table designing and working to partner with other outside agencies. This is our community. This is our community plan. This is the resource we have available. This is what we can do. So partner with us. Come into our community. Work with us to help us to better our community. It's about empowering the people. Absolutely. The people in the community. So absolutely, working from within is the only way, I believe, I have seen, to sustain a true long-term movement that have everlasting effect in the community.
Right. Well, we're going to talk about some of those, but one thing I want to address is let's talk specifically about some of the projects and some of the successes of the Austin Center, because I know there have been several, and I know there are several projects all the way from Thanksgiving to, housing, education, and then let's not forget crime, because I think we want to address that. I think we need to address, I got my ideas, you got your ideas, but I know both of us are interested in trying to address the problems that we have with our young people, particularly the young brothers in this community, and guns and shootings and killings and apathy and the non-taking of responsibility as it relates to being responsible for oneself and trying to be a productive citizen. And frankly, Frank, I like the way that sounds. Frankly, I want you to talk about the specific projects, and then I'd like to spend a little time on these shootings and see if we can't just chit chat a minute about that.
Well, when you're dealing with the fabric of the community, crime is important, and that is part of one of our initiatives. Some of the specific projects, I want to edify this, that these projects are designed and identified by the community, and they chose this is what we want to focus on. In some communities, they identified litter prevention. I mean, some of these streets, as you ride them, I mean, this is literally just everywhere. In a lot of communities, they do a bunch of community cleanups, and that serve a lot of different purposes. For the environment, help clean the environment, help beautify the community, and it's something that all walks of life in that community can band together and work together and do. A lot of communities have identified health. A lot of the senior citizens have problems. So we work to bring resources in the community where they're at. So we do health fairs for testing, dental, whatever is identified. We bring that to the community to make it convenient for the community. And other areas for us, housing, we work housing to reduce blight. From the ground level, what can we do? Some communities have band together, they go in and they deconstruct homes themselves. Our assets are great with our hands. So this is what we could do for ourselves. So each community have identified what's important to them. We have a total of 11 communities that are part of this this movement. So each community have identified that. I know you want to talk a little bit more about crime also, and crime is one of the areas.
I do, and I just think, and I haven't talked to the sheriff about this, but maybe we can work together on this at some point. But I think that the approach to all of these shootings has to be done in the manner that the Austin Center is approaching the problem. That's from the inside out. So I'm thinking, and I know that Commissioner Tillman has exerted some effort in that respect, but I just believe that if we could talk to these young guys, and with modern technology and surveys, I mean, you could probably identify the probable characteristic of people who would be involved in that stuff. You could do some research and you could almost get it down to a pinhead of who would be likely to be a perpetrator and a victim. And then if that can be identified from the bottom up, then maybe we could find entities that would support, whatever comes out of that meeting to support addressing it. But I just think that something has to be done, and from the bottom up, from the inside out, to address these problems.
A lot of these communities almost all these communities, when they was chosen, and one of the indicators was crime. So this is a conversation we had a lot. But let me tell you what we have done. Okay. When I say I'm talking about the community. Let me just sing out one community, the Village Green community. Village Green at one point had one of the highest crime areas. We worked with the community. We did a holistic approach. Let me tell you what happened. From September 2013 to September 2014, the crime in Village Green was reduced by 50%.
Wow.
That's because the community worked from the inside and partnered with other agencies for their own community. So we as a community can solve crime, but we need to do it from here, from the inside of the community, and work out. And the crime rate is still decreasing. And these strategies have been implemented, and they're working, and they're spreading out. So crime with the shootings, with all the things that happen, it really touched the communities of Shalom because they're happening in these communities. So this is something that's dear to us, but we're not just talking about it.
I understand.
We're making strides. So I believe, Mr. Habersham, that strategy can be that strategy can be combined with other strategies to really heal these communities.
That is absolutely. Well, congratulations on that.
Okay,
like Grandma said, the proof is in the pudding.
Absolutely.
And see, that's the interesting thing, about it. And everybody says, Macon is a phenomenal community because we got all kinds of resources. Like we got colleges and water and growth, economic development, things of that nature. But a couple of the things that are hindering, our moving really forward are of course, we need to focus on education and crime. And the reason what you're doing is important is because you don't necessarily want a franchise. You want other people, you do want a franchise. You want it duplicated and replicated in other neighborhoods, and I think that's a strong possibility. And let's talk for a minute about, the urban agriculture piece. I saw it in the television, and I just think that's so, you know what, man? Every time I pass an empty lot, or some empty land, the first thing that comes to my mind is that can be used for growth. You got all these lots in neighborhoods, you got some of these dilapidated houses. And let's talk about urban agriculture. And I know there's an expert that has been to town. Well, tell them what urban agriculture is, first of all.
The Urban Agriculture Project is a project that the way we came about, I'm going to take it back from the beginning.
Go ahead.
Is that all communities, when we did a 4-month training for 11 communities, for the community. And out of this 4-month training, all communities produced a plan. And in their plan, all of them had some things that were very significant. So I'm looking at these 10 different plans. And they want to reduce crime. They want to reduce blight. And every area was considered a food desert. That means that all Shalom Zones was in the access to fresh produce was a long distance away. So when I saw all these significant things, we thought about what can we do in order to combat majority of this. And that's how we came with the urban agriculture piece.
Now, what is urban agriculture? What you do with urban
Right.
agriculture?
The urban agriculture piece is going to be it's a food system. The community select a blighted property, a vacant lot,
Wow.
and they get the soil tested and they plant fresh vegetables, fresh produce from what's important, for them, and they share it with the community. They will be able to sell it to different restaurants, to actually to create jobs for themselves and for other people in the community, and actually, and participate in a healthy diet for the community. So it serves so many different purposes for the community, and it also been known to for taking those dilapidated properties and replacing them with something of that magnitude. It also have been shown to help to contribute a portion of the holistic approach to reducing crime. So it has so many benefits in these communities.
Now, has any piece of property been developed yet, or are you still in the planning stage?
Yes. In the Village Green area, we about 2 years ago we done phase one. We developed a property that was directly in front of the Burgard Elementary at that time. So we took that property, and over 8 months we developed the property, and we end up with a piece of land with 15 raised beds that 15 different members of the community was able to come in and grow their own vegetables.
Wow.
And the school participated and brought the kids over into a STEM program and educated them about urban agriculture.
Wow.
So the effect of that was just phenomenal. So that was phase one. And now we're going to take this to all 11 communities and service the whole Macon community.
Wow. So you identify the problem. We want to talk some more about that in just a minute, because I just think that maybe from an individual perspective, like I got some land in my backyard, and I love collards,
Right.
So we want to talk about that, and we want to talk about Mr. P.J. Carswell,
Absolutely.
who's also involved in that process. But we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back. This is a call to action.
Call to action.
I'm your host, Alex Habersham, interviewing Mr. Frank Austin of the Austin Development Center, and we'll be right back. We're back, and I'm your host, Alex Habersham, of a call that you're watching and listening to, a call to action. And today's interviewee is Mr. Frank Austin of the Austin Development Center. And let me just say this, since this is my show, let me personalize for a minute that, I really get a warm feeling, because what we're doing now embraces what my producers, Trace and Andrea Austin, and I want to do, is to have shows and programs that can make a difference from which action can be generated. So, this is one of the better ones, man. Congratulations on what you're doing. And we were talking about something that's close to my heart, because I can be affected by it in so many ways, which is urban agriculture. And the way I can be affected is I can eat better. You can't do any better than fresh vegetables, tomatoes, and squash, and don't say anything about collard greens, because I get hungry right now, So as a part of the Austin Center development and the Shalom Zone and the other initiatives, and we'll tell you how to find out more information, they've got this initiative called, the urban agriculture. That's what it is. And then I remember seeing an article about Mr. P.J. Carswell. Talk about him and what he's done and as it relates to urban agriculture.
Mr. P.J. Carswell reached out to me. Mr. Carswell is a phenomenal guy. He's been farming forever. And he have about 40 acres of land, some developed, some not. Mr. P.J. Carswell reached out to me and said, Mr. Austin, how can I help with my skill sets? I've been doing urban agriculture, growing for a long time. His expertise that he brings to the table is just phenomenal. And it really helping us to move in the right directions. Mr. P.J. Carswell and people like him is what it's going to take for us to work in a collaborative fashion in order to help these communities. But his support is hard to measure, from the talent, from the skill. And not only Mr. P.J. Carswell, which is here locally, we've been working with one of the world-renowned person in agriculture, Mr. Will Allen of Growing Power. Mr. Allen is been deemed Urban Agriculture Ambassador for the United States. He worked on the Clinton Global Initiative and also with Michelle Obama on her Let's Move initiative.
Right.
He's been to Macon twice, and he's our consultant. Will help us to develop and sustain this urban agriculture movement here in Macon, Georgia.
Oh, that's outstanding. Now, we were talking off camera for a minute, and I was saying that this is, and this is such a phenomenal. The market is there, the potential is there, the interest is there, the profit even potential is there, and it just seems to me with all these empty lots and this empty land, maybe there's a way, and I don't want to get you bombarded, but I'm sure that there are some other entities in the community who would be interested. For example, some of these churches got 3 or 4 acres of land and behind them, right. And they got church members, and you got the expert, Mr. P.J. Carswell. So do you think that there's a way, to maybe expand, under the umbrella of Austin Center, that initiative, so we can increase, the number of acres and lots that this initiative is going on?
Right. Not only the short answer is yes. Collaboration is the only way to sustain this thing. So we have any church, any community member that have an interest. We are open to talk with, and in order to continue to push this out further.
And then I almost shudder when I think about the peripheral benefits of this, from an educational perspective, from an employment perspective, from an economic perspective, because I'm sure, that there are restaurants that, soul food is a thing, and healthy food is definitely the thing. And I'm sure that there are some commercial businesses and some families or what have you so you could set up a market, man. You could set up a market and people can come and buy those fresh, that fresh produce. So I want to congratulate you again on the other initiative, and I want to suggest to the community, if it, there's an old saying that says, if it is to be, it's up to me. Well, you could be the me, that learns about this project and observe, some land. And then think of the entities that would have the resources, like have some individuals, and maybe, with churches, they got just a little, don't take but that much of a financial resource, and got some people who are interested in organizations. So I think this could really improve the community. Additionally, I bet you get some of these young people, and you could set up a competition, man. Right. You could set up a competition. Okay, now you got this row, I got this row. Give a prize for the person who grows the biggest tomato. Absolutely. So there are all kinds of ways to approach problems, from the inside out. And go ahead. I think you wanted to mention a couple other initiatives.
Right. Well, I want to make an announcement.
Okay, go ahead.
And this will be the first time that I talked about it this year.
Well, I feel so honored.
Because of the tremendous amount of support in the community working very hard, I was nominated by Keeping American Beautiful, which is on a national level, for an award by the name of Iron Eyes Cody Award.
Say that again.
Iron Eyes Cody Award.
Okay.
It's the highest honor nationally in this field that they, on the national level, that is given by Keeping American Beautiful. Okay. I will be receiving that award, a recipient of the award.
Not only were you nominated, okay.
On February the 1st, and this just shows, even on the national level, what the impact when communities decide that they're sick and tired of the way the community looks.
Right.
To work together with people on the inside as well on the outside to make a difference.
Right, right.
To make a difference.
Well, I want to congratulate you for that award, and you're very, very deserving, of course, and keep up the good work. And then, so now, tell us a little bit about, more about your organization, how people can get in touch with you, and some other information that you feel would be important.
To contact us, you can call me directly. My cell phone number is 478-714-1885, or you can email me at any time at alstonsmithcenter@gmail.com. And for us, the website, we have a website we developed. The address is mszm10.org. That's the website. You can always check on that to see what we're doing, what activities we have going on. And those are the best 3 ways to contact us for us with our community work.
Okay, well, let me ask you this. Is there a way that the community can, suppose somebody wants to volunteer, wants to contribute, got a plot of land that they want to see if they can, grow. I bet you old PJ would probably come and help them set it up if they wanted to do it.
Absolutely.
So is there, would you be open for volunteers and for donations? What kind of entity is that?
Nonprofit.
It's a 501.
501c3.
C3. So would you be open to, maybe some additional support from the community?
Absolutely. So we are in 10 different areas, 11 different areas in Macon. And any property that can be donated will go toward for that particular purpose. So we're still looking for property in these communities, from Pleasant Hill to Unionville to Village Green, all of the communities that have been considered distressed. So any property, even outside of that, we're looking for properties. And absolutely, we're in the process now of galvanizing support for the financial piece of it. It's a cost to make it happen, and any donation is greatly appreciated towards this purpose.
And what's their address? They can mail the check.
It's a P.O. Box, 18157, Macon, Georgia, 31209 is the address.
This is a call to action.
A call to action.
I'm your host, Alex Habersham, and I just want to review and just recap, this interview. We've interviewed Mr. Frank Austin at the Austin Smith Center for Community Development, and they have so many initiatives. And what we've discussed is something that we've discussed on other occasions, but I think to a larger degree, this kind of support, what we've said over the years, is that the best way to improve our community is to initiate property and work with individuals, on the inside and develop, improvement from the inside out. And I think what Brother Frank has done, and he's received a national awards for his effort, and he's bringing more recognition to Macon. I want to say this. If, in fact, because I think Frank has the expertise to take a piece of land, 30, 40 acres, and find some young people, who would be willing to engage in a project to develop and cultivate those acres. So there are so many options and so many opportunities for all of us to be involved in community improvement. And I'll bet you a fat man, not talking about me now, that Frank would welcome, the opportunity, your assistance in making this a better community. I want to thank you again. I want to congratulate you again. And give that phone number one more time.
The phone number is 478-714-1885.
This is a call to action.
A call to action.
I'm your host, Alex Habersham. Have a great day.
www.makingblackpages.com